Good evening. Welcome from my heart to yours. Welcome here to Satsang. So, I received so many questions and comments tonight. I feel a little overwhelmed how many emails I received this week around the topic of social media. And so we'll get into that. But I want us just to really remember why we are here on this path. We are here to awaken to our absolute divinity, to embody this divinity, to live it truthfully. And that's where the rub is to live it in this world, this crazy, chaotic world that we live in. And so before I get into that, I want to, just make the announcement for two things. We're going to have our big premiere retreat in a month from now at Kripalu. So I do hope you can join July 14th through the 19th. Be a wonderful time to connect in real life, in person, with each other. And it's a longer retreat. It's our longest retreat of the year. And there's plenty of time to have your questions answered, for your presence to be seen, to be met, to be heard, for us to dive deeply together. And so if you can make it, please do. Please do, because it'll be a very powerful experience where we'll be focusing on the heart and awakening the heart. And of course, like, what is a spiritual path? Like, what is it if we aren't connected to our heart? What is a life if we're not connected to our heart? And so I do invite you to join that. And the next announcement is we're going to have a community meeting where we're just going to come together and speak about social media and how to connect better on social media, how to connect better as a Sangha. It'll be a time to share what you would like more of within the Sangha and how we meet together. And so, that meeting will be Friday, the 21st of June. This is 2024, of course, and at 10:30 Mountain Time. So if you want the link to that, you have to email me, or if you email one of the members of the group, or if someone in the group can post on Facebook, hey, everyone, I got the link. If you want it, you can share it around. Please share it. It's nice if I don't have to do every email myself, because I just get busy. And so if you have the link, share it with a friend in the Sangha. If you want to come and you don't know someone who's got it, just email me. Don't email me last minute though. Okay. So let's drop in. Let's just take some breaths together. Let's get grounded. Let's get settled. And take some deep, full breaths. I'm going to invite us all to meet down in the hara and in the root. Breathing and feeling and softening. Opening. And just relaxing throughout the entirety of the body, relaxing behind the eyes and the forehead, the back of the skull, the neck, the shoulders, behind the heart, the solar plexus, the ribs, the sacrum. Breathing in and breathing out. I want you to see if you can find almost like a bottom to your presence. There's no real bottom to you because you're limitless, but just see if you can breathe all the way down to the base of the spine. And just join me in stepping into this quiet depth, a depth of peace, a depth of radiance. A depth of strength and great noble sanity. So we're softening here, we're opening here. And I invite you to expand down into the earth, to expand further into the depth of your being. And for some of you, you might even feel almost like a raw sense of power, the power of Buddha nature. And I invite you to let go into this power. Coming to know this aspect of your being is much greater. And the everyday thinking mind and emotional nature. Recognizing that you are this immensity of being, deep and wide, absolutely noble and sane. And I invite you just to place an anchor here. Trusting in this depth, trusting that it is safe, it's okay to let go. If you get any egoic walls or defenses, recognizing this depth of being. And with each breath, I invite you to feel yourself more and more naturally rooted here. Almost as if there's a remembering. Oh, yes. This quiet depth, this immensity is my natural state. And so if there's any part of you withholding, holding back, still being rooted in ego, I invite you to soften there, to trust, to open in this radical depth. Knowing that love is the way. Truth is the way. Buddha nature. It's the very fabric, presence, the essence of your consciousness. And so you can gently open your eyes, and I welcome you into this space. Okay. So I see that Kyle has his hand raised, and so Kyle, I'll speak with you. Hi, Kyle. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Craig.
Yeah. Yeah, so Kyle, you and I met the other morning in the park, and I asked you about these walls in your heart. And so you're going to tell us about the walls in your heart, what you've learned and how you've befriended them.
Currently, I feel a lot of sadness in the front of my heart.
Yeah, beautiful. What's the sadness about?
I feel that I've been afraid to be my authentic self in this life.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't want you to feel alone in this, Kyle. Everyone in this room has been afraid to be their authentic self. And so we're making friends with this wall. We're letting them know, hey, it's okay. You're not alone. You know, like we're all in AA together. Like, hey, we're all alcoholics. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's we're letting this part of you know, like, it's welcome here. It's welcome here. Yeah. And so, you know, if we get to know this part, I've been afraid to be my authentic self because so I want you to ask it. I don't want you looking around. And so we're inviting a universal friendliness to all the walls within us. And I'm going to invite everyone to play along. So we all know this, that we have this, we put on walls and armor. And, you know, in order for these walls to truly surrender, to fall away, we have to first own them. And it can be helpful to befriend them, you know, let them know, like, hey, it's okay. I see you and I love you. Yeah. And so forgive me. You were saying there's a sadness here, recognition that you've been afraid to be your authentic self. And we're asking those walls, why?
I don't think I felt confident in my true self. Um, so I had to build a persona.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Yeah. And this is what we all do. We build a persona. We put on a mask. Okay. And so do you want to continue to wear the mask?
No, it's heavy.
That's heavy, right? It's
Yeah.
heavy. It's heavy. Yeah. It's heavy. So if you take the mask off and let it fall, what do you see there?
Innocence and joy.
Yeah, innocence and joy. How about that? How about that? How about that? How about that? Innocence and joy. And you know, like that mask, um, is it okay just falling to the ground and just surrendering itself, or does it need something? Like, is it going to come back later this evening, or you know, in a couple moments from now? Or can you be this innocence and joy?
It tries to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So why? So that again, like let's get to know it. Like again, if we are at AA, I'm an alcoholic. I drink all the time. It's like, why? Oh, because I'm stressed, or because my kids drive me crazy, or my neighbor, I'm arguing with him or whatever. So why does that mask think he needs to come back again and again and again?
um, I wanted to be successful in the eyes of others.
I
In
want
order
to
to
be,
love myself, I needed to be successful.
yeah, I need to be successful in order to receive love, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and this is a common thing. Like this is the story of modern day United States, Hollywood, New York City, you know, a lot of big city folks, you know, and it's part of our country's culture. Like the United States is an Enneagram type 3. It's all about success. This is really conditioned in us as a culture here in the United States, and you know, a lot of places in Europe, a lot of places throughout the world, of course. But I need to be successful so that I can be loved. Yeah. And is that true?
no,
No, no,
no.
no. Let me ask you, have you failed miserably anytime soon? Anytime recently?
I honestly can't think of a time that I've ever like failed miserably.
You gotta hang out with me more because I'm failing miserably all the time. So today, happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the room. So like today, you know, we came back from camping and we went on like a camping paddleboarding trip, me and the family. And on the way home, my daughter is telling me, Dad, you don't do anything. You don't do anything. I'm just like, damn, girl, it's Father's Day. Like, that's why you gotta tell me on Father's Day you don't do anything. She's like, nope, mom does all the work. You don't do anything. And I'm just like, damn, these kids, you know, they're always giving me such a hard time, such a hard time. And I'm like, well, who does the laundry? And she's like, well, I don't know. Who does the dishes? I don't know. Who's cooking some of the time? I don't know. Mom, you know, I'm like, some of the time dad's cooking, you know, some of the time. Well, you know, like I fail miserably, you know, to be the perfect father for my daughter. I fail miserably to wear like a good, clean, polished mask. It's just like I just can't pull it off. And so I become comfortable failing miserably, you know. I love the part of me that fails. I'm going to tell you another funny one. On Tuesday night, all of a sudden, my daughter had a sleepover. And so me and my wife had a date, and we get a date like maybe once every two months, maybe once a season sometimes. Sometimes it's once a year. But we went out on a date, and oh, I think I told you this, right? I told you this. I went
Yeah,
out, I went to the
the
pizza
pizza.
place. I'll tell everyone. I went to the pizza place, and it was a little skinny pizza place. It was real dark on the inside, but we sat right on the edge of the restaurant. So it was real bright Colorado sun shining in. So I wore my sunglasses, and I saw this pizza tray that was right next to a table, but it was a big pizza tray down on a stool. Someone put it on a stool because they had too many kids. They couldn't fit their pizza on their table. Well, I walked up to pay the hostess. I paid her. I talked for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, this table that was right along the bar, the skinny little corridor that I had to walk through, had a bunch of kids. And one of the kids started crying and screaming. So I looked real quick and I hit their pizza. And I knocked their whole pizza on the ground. Just failed miserably. Had a whole family so upset at me because I ruined their dinner. And so I'm comfortable with failure. I mean, I felt terrible, but also I'm comfortable with it. And so my question to you, Kyle, is can you get comfortable failing? But you got to let yourself fail, Kyle. You got to let yourself fail. You got to let yourself fail. And everyone, I talked to Kyle the other day. I gave him some homework. Basically, like the homework that I give to number threes is go out and get in a bunch of trouble in the world. Like go out and get in some trouble. Get wet, go jump in the river. Get in some trouble, get your toes and your feet muddy. And our river right now is about 42 degrees. And so it is freezing. I want you jumping in and screaming. Okay, you're smiling. So Kyle, can you get in some trouble?
Yeah, I can get in
Okay.
trouble.
Yeah. Now there's this funny thing that happens when we keep it all together, like when we do a really good job on the path of keeping everything together. It's a funny thing that happens that our walls, our armoring starts to feel really tight and really heavy because we're keeping it all together. And then God has to do something like hit you really hard because your walls are so tightly constructed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the day after we met, actually the night I had a nightmare of another teaching nightmare of like the kids just went like it was just total anarchy in my classroom and my principal walked in and like it was just a career nightmare. I thought it
Yeah.
was really happening, obviously. And when I woke up and I was just like breathing heavily, I was like, oh, I mean that could easily happen. And what like is that the worst thing that could happen to me? It's like not that bad, you know.
It's not that bad. So like a great question, like when you do experience failure is, am I okay? Like, am I okay? Am I okay? Like in the here and now, in the experience of failure, am I okay? And so I'm going to invite you to play with that. And I'm also, Kyle, going to invite you to play with, can I love the parts of me that do fail? But you got to let yourself fail, Kyle. I mean, come on. You got to let yourself fail. You got to let yourself fail. And if you don't let yourself fail, failure will come and find you. So these parts that hold on tight, what do they need from you?
They need to be held and reassured that they're okay exactly as they are.
Yeah. 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 And I'll tell you this, Kyle, again, just to reiterate the point, you can hold them all day long, but they won't believe you that it's okay to fail until they actually do experience failure and live through it. And this is kind of where, like we can do like somatic healing therapy all day long. We can meditate all day long. Sometimes we just need to go fail and wake up in the failure and realize, oh, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I am okay. I am okay. And so I want you to hold them and I want you to get to know them and I want you to listen to them. But we don't want to hold them in a way where we just coddle them. Like we need to we'll just get out in the world and mix it up a little bit more. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle, you have a great heart and a great spirit. I would like to see you engaging in the Sangha a little bit more fully. Could you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you go to the inquiry group?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Like something like that, would be a good start. Yeah. Yeah. But showing up in ways where you share more. Okay. And not just like some grand question about the philosophy or whatever. I want you to show up in a more tender and vulnerable place, a place that honors your heart. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share while you're here?
No, I don't have anything else, but thank you for calling on me. I would have
Yeah.
probably not raised my hand, but
I know sometimes I mess with people. Well, thanks for being a sport, Kyle.
yeah,
It's good to see you. Don't be a stranger, okay?
I will not.
Okay. All right. Good to have you. All right. Let's see. Let's hear from Catherine.
Hello.
Hey, Catherine. Good to see you.
Good to see everybody. I guess I would just like some support because I feel like I'm having trouble loving my brain. I'm like loving my
Your
mind.
brain and your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way I operate is I view that all thoughts arise, all troublesome thoughts arise out of different chakra centers in the body, different, and of course, would be connected to some level of emotion, some level of an unmet need or deficiency of some sort. So, what kind of thoughts are giving you trouble?
I'm just having to do like more intellectual work and it's just kind of that's like oh I'm so stupid, like oh like my brain is different now. Just I think
Yeah.
just yeah.
Okay. So one thing you said is true there. Um, my brain is different now,
Yeah.
but having a different brain doesn't mean you're stupid, does it?
Part of me does not believe that. Part of me knows that is true, but part of me does not believe that.
Okay. Well, at some point we have to pick a side and get anchored. So we're either going to align with Catherine is a stupid fool. You're probably too young. Do you ever remember Chris Farley? Do you know who Chris Farley?
Yeah, down
Okay.
by the river.
Yeah, yeah. So Chris Farley, he's like, I hate myself. I wish I was dead, and he would just like freak out on himself and like start punching himself. It's like, so we can take that approach, or there's a different approach. We can stand in the truth. And the truth is that as we wake up, the nature of our human mind shifts and it changes. And it has a different type of intelligence. And this intelligence is going to be more spacious, more empty, more free, but of course, much more intuitive. But as this new part, like this divine part, is waking up or it's coming online, the old part of us, which may have been actually quite intelligent from a human cultural perspective, an academic perspective, is probably going to start freaking out. So are you having that kind of feeling?
Yeah, I am having that kind of feeling.
Yeah. And so, part of it is going to be you breathing into that and say, hey, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. We will. And another part, like from a place of humility, I'm going to invite you to call upon the Divine Mother and the force of divine intelligence to begin to work through you. And that's going to require a silent mind. And so we can, like in this lineage that we're in here, we surrender our old mind, our rational mind, and we invite this higher mind to come. But in order for this to happen, we have to trust that it's okay to become empty first. Now, in this stage of emptying out, there's going to be a feeling probably of a lot of fear. Just the same way, like when we were in the 8th grade and we, this summer we went into the 9th grade. There's a lot of fear about, oh man, I'm going to the 9th grade. I'm not going to know anything. I'm going to get beat up, or they're going to make fun of me, or whatever. And I don't have the right clothes, or whatever it is that, teenagers think about. Your mind might freak out a little bit. But again, like I told with Kyle, like we have to kind of walk into this new mind and play with it and see what it can do. See what it can do. And at first you might know what it can do. At first you might, be like me when I go and rent a car and the car doesn't have a key. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like, how does this thing work? How does the car go without a key? I might have to go back to the person and be like, how do you start this thing? Like, how does this work? Like, press the button, Mr. Holliday, press the button. And so we're going to play around a little bit. We're going to play around. Yeah. And so is there self-hatred here? Or is it just the mind attacking the mind?
I feel like there's definitely self-hatred there too. It's like, because I notice it most when I go into work spaces, like I'm able to get much more still when I'm at my house, but it feels like when I get into when I'm around my colleagues and everyone is just operating from that really refined academic brain, I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm gonna fail. I'm failing miserably. There's like all
Yeah.
kinds of
Who
judgment.
got you this job?
I got me this job.
You got you this job. But who gets us all of our jobs?
God.
God. God. So God brought you here. And so I want you to see that there's an intelligence in you being here. Maybe see is the wrong word. I want you to trust that perhaps there's an intelligence that brought you here. And perhaps you're here to bring something unique or something different. Something different than, how the other people think or operate. Could you see that as a possibility? Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel really worn down and like I'm not contributing anything. And I've just been like I've just been useless.
Well, and again, like useless according to
Academia.
according to academia. Yeah. And so I want you to, like, you've used this word a lot, like academia. And so let's just play a game just for a moment. If you close your eyes, and we can all do this, just whatever your career is, whatever your job is, I'm going to invite everyone just to name it something. So Catherine's naming her thing, academia. It's a hard word for me. I want to call it the macadamia nut, but it's the academia is what we're talking about here. So I want you just to visualize this thing that you're calling academia. I want you to put a face on it, like allow it to personify itself. What do you see there?
Like this demon face.
Like a demon face.
Yeah.
Like a demon face. Now look, if we relate to our work as a demon face, like as this big demon, we're probably going to be scared. We're probably going to have a power struggle. And so everyone play along, just see like what kind of pops up with your career, your vocation. And so if you look again, Catherine, and like we were talking with Kyle saw that he had this mask of success. And here we have this mask of this demon face. If you just look deeper, look under the mask, look again. What do you see there now?
It's like a lot of people really trying to make a difference.
A lot of people really trying to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a demon, is it?
No. No.
No. Are you one of those people trying to make a difference?
Yeah, and I'm sucking.
Well, come on now. So trying to change the world, that's hard work. And we're going to fail at that. Like with evolution, like if you study evolution, you study biology, you see like when something new comes online, there's like a lot of failure in it. A lot of failure. And I'm going to invite us to trust that if we keep showing up, that the truth will prevail. That the truth will prevail. If you keep showing up, the truth will present itself. It will reveal itself. The truth will move us into alignment if we keep showing up. Is this something you can have faith in? Yeah. Yeah. And again, like if we step just into like a real vast view and a view from the heart, is Catherine a complete and utter failure?
No.
No, 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 you're not. Now listen, Catherine, I'm going to tell you like something a little bit, it's like kind of confidential, but I'll just tell this to you. Out of all the people in the Sangha, your name has been mentioned the most. And it's always some beautiful comment about you, like giving like a compliment about how people really love you, how they adore you, how they look to you as a bright light, as this full expression. And it's just been interesting to me because, I get emails and sometimes people talk about each other in the Sangha, and like I get a lot of emails saying kind things in reference to Miss O'Neill here. Like I get all these kind things about you. And it's just been interesting for me, because, people, there's something about you that stands out, that is a bright light. And I've never received any email where someone's like, Catherine is an idiot. Like I've never gotten that email. But I'm going to tell you something again. It's a little bit of confidentiality here. I've received a lot of emails for people within this Sangha calling each other idiots. And I'm always like, oh, what's going on here? What's going on here? And so I want you to hear that in this Sangha, you are respected and you're loved. And people see the bright light that you are. I want you to see if you can like drink that in a little bit. Just like let that enter that. Oh, maybe I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. And I want you to see if you can soften that part of you that feels like an idiot. And perhaps, this is something that I've learned to do, is to allow a childlike part of you to come online and just to be innocent here on planet Earth. To be innocent. Like when I just smashed into this whole family's pizza dinner, and it wasn't fully my fault. Their pizza was like down like a little bit lower than my waist. It was down in this, in the hallway, like where you're walking through the restaurant. But an innocent part of me smashed into their pizza, like knocked it over. And I'm okay with that. I can smile. Like I can be innocent and I can make some mistakes. There can be some humility here. And I'm not like, damn, I'm such an idiot. But I was a little bit like, damn, I messed up their dinner. I really apologize to the family. I am so sorry. I tried to buy them their dinner. They wouldn't let me, and the waitress wouldn't let me. My wife, she ran out of there. She's like, I'm not with that guy. I'm not with that guy. That is not who I'm with tonight. Not that guy. But you might just play around with let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, were you allowed to be a kid?
I think my parents tried, but I was taking a lot on.
Yeah, you took a lot on, right? And sometimes that happens. Like if the family goes through a divorce or split up or whatever, sometimes we grow up real quick, and we have to be all business as a kid. And then when we're an adult, we kind of carry with us kind of like a harshness with us toward our own self. And you might find it healing just allow yourself to be a kid in academia. Just allow yourself to be a kid. Now, you don't have to tell anyone like, hey, everyone, I'm a kid. I'm this innocent, sweet, playful, joyful presence. That's what I am. They'll think you're a nut, but you might just let yourself be childlike, in the sense that it's okay to make some mistakes. It's okay not to know everything. It's okay not to have a big fat ego in the realm of academia, because that's like the big shadow is I'm a know-it-all. I'm a know-it-all. And so you might play with this. You might play with this and just see, because sometimes when we're a kid and we have a lot going on in our home, we grow up quick and we skip like a developmental step of it's okay to make mistakes. Like it's okay. And so, that might be one of the themes tonight for everyone. It's like, it's okay to make some mistakes. It's okay to be a kid. It's okay to be childlike. And then when we have a consciousness that is childlike and we surrender before the Divine Mother, she might actually use us in a masterful way. And it's a funny experience that, like I feel just like a kid, like a little boy. But somehow, I'm a spiritual teacher and a therapist and, talk to so many people all over. But when I'm walking around, I just feel like a little kid, just a little kid. And my wife reminds me in an old man's body, it's just like, sometimes my bones remind me that like, oh, an old man's body, but I'm just a kid. And it helps our consciousness to be fluid and flexible, like in like yogic terms. It helps us to be loving to ourselves, and it makes life so much greater, just so much more enjoyable and tolerable if we just see ourselves as a kid. But if we have to be, Dr. O'Neill who knows everything, it's like, damn, we're going to fail at that. And, that failure might show up in like with Kyle, where he's like tries to control and do it perfectly. Or sometimes it implodes and it's like, I'm going to attack myself all the time for not having every answer. And I'm going to encourage you, just to let yourself be a kid and show up and do your best. And You know, if anyone gives you feedback, hey, you need to work a little harder, it's like, okay, boss, like I can hear that. But in the meantime, if you're not getting those comments or that feedback from life, I'd encourage you to let yourself be. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Anything else you want to share?
No, just leaning into being a macadamia nut.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You be the macadamia nut. You be the macadamia nut. Good. All right. Good to see you, Catherine. All right. All right. Okay. So, all right, let's hear from Don. Boy, I have a lot of things I wanted to get through tonight. I don't think I'm going to get through them, but okay, let's hear from Don and or Jan.
I'll be pretty quick. So I was really, really touched what I could feel what Kyle was talking about. Since the retreat, since you've challenged us to like make a choice and to be our true selves, I can feel so much this sadness and loneliness. And this is just little things. I'll put up, read a book, put on some music, something to fill up that emptiness rather than let go. But Catherine's, I just triggered this memory. It was in it was in macadamia nut school, right? It was like 30 years ago, and we were in a statistics class, and I'm like feeling completely stupid. I'm like 20 years older than everyone else. I'm too old for this. I'm stupid. I'm hopeless. And halfway through, I said, "Excuse me, are we going to talk about?" It was called multiple regression. It's a statistics actually, not psych. And the whole class turned around like, "Are you stupid? We've been talking about that the whole class." And like, that feeling you just want to shrink and just, I still feel that pain. Like, so the last thing is just, I got some software, expensive software, music software, about 2 weeks ago. And everyone, it's like 10 minutes to load it. And I've been convinced it's too complicated. There's all these new different kinds of things.
Yeah.
I'm too old for this. And every day, so last Monday, a group of us meet every Monday to encourage each other to do stuff we're afraid of. So they said, why don't you do that by next Monday? I said, no, I'll be angry at you all week. So we were with some friends last night, and Jan sees me take the thing out, she says, we're with our friends, you can't do that now. So I got it out this morning, and that, what Catherine was talking about, this feeling in my stomach of like feeling sick, I can't do this. And then it worked out okay. Then I got lost again. So the message I get so clearly from you, it's like, yeah, if I'm a little, God, I even am telling this to my students in our sleep course. Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm being hypocritical. I'm telling them, but I'm afraid to fail. It's like I'm a complete, total failure, and I can't teach. I can't do the software. And I'm not saying my mind I believe this, but I'm acknowledging I can feel
Yeah, yeah.
sadness.
Yeah, let me ask you, Don, can you feel it now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's all play along again. So we'll close our eyes. And really becoming intimate and close with this feeling of failure in the body. And really getting to know the sadness. And so if you tell me just experientially, so with a couple words, what do you notice in your belly?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel tearing up and crying and feeling the sadness so much. But I also noticed when you asked me to close my eyes, I'm just sort of hunched over, like
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
protect it. I feel this
yeah,
fear. Yeah.
yeah,
And a little bit sick to my stomach too.
yeah, yeah. So I want you to open to that nausea. And you can sit back a little bit and just let yourself feel an open way. And I'm going to invite just a sense of courage and commitment to be with what's here without much thought, but just to feel what's here. To allow what's here, to smile with what's here.
I started to feel like a baby, like trying to grow in my belly.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's let that baby grow, letting the belly be big.
Feels like it wants to burst.
Yeah. So let's let it burst. Just letting it burst. And I want you to let it burst underneath you, like almost like the ground falling out. And for it to burst on a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
Really letting it come alive. Yeah, so you tell me.
Like I'm ready to take off, but I feel like it just got stuck here.
Yeah, so it's a common place. Get stuck in the throat chakra. So often in the throat, there's a feeling I need to do it right, or I need to say the right thing, or
Right.
this is a little too much. I need to control it, or any kind of thing with that.
Everyone's looking at me and judging me. I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah. And so everyone's doing this on their own. They're finding their own point of failure or shame. And there's room to fail a little bit here. There's room to do it wrong. We're just going to keep opening and feeling. And the basic teaching is if any energy is moving, if you're feeling anything, you're doing it right.
Yeah, it's
Anything,
moving
you're doing
around.
it right.
It's like something's moving around and crawling around,
Yeah,
moving up and down and out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I want you just to stay with it, just letting it move and letting it flow. And might be parts of it that feel really beautiful. There might be parts that feel kind of nauseous. We're just letting it all burn in the truth. It unravel in the truth and express itself. Yeah, there we go. Let it be a little wild. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we smile, we laugh, we let some emotion flow, some sighs. Yeah, yeah. So just noticing now, there's more space, more light, more movement. And how beautiful that is. And how beautiful that is. And so, Don, I'm going to invite you just to stay with your experience. So beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah. Okay. And so tonight we're cutting through the walls. Cutting through the walls. And sometimes that means we see through them. Sometimes it means we sit with them deeply. Sometimes it means we embrace them fully. We notice with the walls on the surface, they might have one voice saying you need to be perfect, or you have to know everything, or this or that. When we look a little deeper, we see that there's some emotion there, often a fear or shame or sadness or hurt. And as we drop through the layers and look even more deeply, you might begin to see this great power, this great light, great burning heat and nauseous flow of energy that's unraveling. And so we just follow it. We continue to follow, we continue to open, and we let it move. And sometimes there's layers and layers of it where it gets angry or sad. Someone even emailed me that they were, flinging rage at me, me, the teacher who was inviting them to let go. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we get angry at ourselves, and again, we're just softening, letting it empty, letting it flow, letting it unravel. And you'll see after layer after layer after layer of the feeling of shame or heartache or despair, you might find a great, tender wellspring of compassion or innocence or purity. You might find great, noble emptiness and freedom. And the only way for us to discover it is to sit through the layers, to drop through them, to be with them intimately. And there's a common thing that happens. Like sometimes when I invite people to do this work, they do it a little bit and get to one layer and then get angry and throw in the towel and say, I'm done. I can't handle this. This is too much. But as a Sangha, I'm inviting us all to be brave. To be brave. To breathe deeply with what's here. To love yourself enough to stay with yourself. To stay with yourself and not turn away. Not distract yourself, not run off somewhere, not look for a 1, 2, 3 quick fix. To sit with what's here fully and completely. Fully and completely. And so we continue to sit, we continue to open, and want to move into another question. And this one has come up actually by a number of people in the Sangha this week, where there's been this feeling of almost, not of almost, but a feeling of obsessing about someone, like constantly reaching out to someone, whether it's in this Sangha or outside of the Sangha. And I received this email about, just reaching out into the past. This someone they met in the past, and just obsessing about this person in the past. And so often within our psychological mask, because we are in our mask, we're living from our mask, we have this feeling of a radical deficiency within us. And so the mask will do this thing where it will reach out and try to grab, or use the Buddhist term, to grasp at another human being, to hold that human being, and to want to own them, to stuff them into their consciousness. This is something I could admit that I did for most of my young adult life, is I would fall in love deeply with someone and just grasp at them, just think about them, obsess about them. And it points to this part of us that we are actively denying. We are not there for our own self. And so we reach out and we grasp at another. You know, when I was at my teacher's memorial for his passing, you know, someone there in the group like pulled up some like video footage from Craig in you know, like 1996 or something. You know, so I was like this young kid, and you know, I had this question, like, what does that outside world have to do with anything? Like, alls I wanted was the spiritual life, the spiritual world, the world of a monk. And I actively was denying, ignoring the humanity of Craig. And so I saw like just this old image, and you know, it's just hilarious to see me talking. And I've always had a rough voice, but I had like this voice. I sounded like I was still going through puberty, but I saw this kid who didn't love himself. And when we don't love ourselves, when we don't see our beauty, our divinity, then we can become a slave to this type of obsession, where we obsess about, you know, beautiful woman, beautiful guy, beautiful whatever. And so someone emailed me, they said, Craig, you know, I really struggle with this. And let me see if I can find the question. I think I have unrequited, I'm not sure if I'm saying that, unrequited crushes since preschool, but for two people in a relationship to look, let's see if I can find this. Wondering if you could just speak a little bit about this type of love and projection. And so much of the difficulties that we have in romantic relationships are healed through loving oneself. In fact, so much in life is healed through loving oneself. Like even like if we have like great trouble with finances, when we love ourselves deeply and fully, we see our worth, we see our value. Often it's reflected in the world. But when we find ourselves just like with this thirsting for an obsessive love, and if we turn around and look, we'll see that there's a deficiency within our consciousness. And there's not really a deficiency, but we see a deficiency because part of us, the part that's like, you know, conscious or everyday waking mind, is not connected to the depth of our being. It's not in love with our own self. And that may sound narcissistic from one perspective, but it is deeply healing. If you love yourself, if you honor yourself, and especially if you love the parts of you that you would normally call ugly, that you'd call ugly. And so I went through this whole period of time where I was just seeing, witnessing, experiencing all these ugly aspects of myself, self-hatred and this violence, like almost like a spiritual violence I projected onto myself. And the more I loved the one who felt deficient, the more fool I became, the more fool I felt. And so this whole thing of obsessing about someone, I began to fall away to the degree that I loved myself. And of course, this can come up in all different kinds of ways in life. It's not always romantically, but I'll say this, that like human beings, it can be a little bit of a comedy if we can step back from our life and smile and just see just like the silly, crazy, wild things we've done to chase down a romantic partner. And I'll even say this, and again, I don't mean this in any judgmental way, but sometimes we do really stupid things. A better word would be foolish things. Foolish things. I did so many foolish things. This is where I just throw myself and sell myself, like give myself away, and shapeshift and morph myself to try to make myself fit into someone else's world. And of course, always at my own peril. And when we do this, when we live in this way, we feed our destructive ego. We feed our destructive ego. And at some point, we have to take our power back and say, no. No. I'm not going to follow that part of me. That's what I mean by feeding. I'm not going to just continue to be foolish again and again. Like we've all seen this, where we date someone, ends up getting into like some toxic relationship mess. We break up and we go out, we meet another person, we get another toxic relationship. Like, I think I'm in a pattern here. Like, I think I'm really screwing some things up here. And, at some point, we have to realize, oh, there's a different way of relating, where I love myself first and foremost. And many of us find it easy to love our good qualities, like our successful qualities, but that really, that's easy. What we need to love is like what we're doing with Don, these parts of us that feel shame, that feel humiliated, that feel hurt. And say, okay, I'm willing to love these parts. I'm willing to love these parts. And I'm willing to love them fully and unconditionally. And as we do this, this deeper level of awakening is able to take root in us, where we awaken to unconditional love. And until we awaken to unconditional love, like we might have transcendent awakening experiences, or we might have just like big, maybe even loving experiences of awakening, like awakening to love, but it won't stick. It'll be transitory until we're willing to love our shadow, our confusion, the childlike parts of us, the parts that have been beat down, the parts of us that have been traumatized. And sometimes, like when we look inside, it gets really complicated. If we've had lots and lots of trauma, speaking with someone in the group about like when we have complex trauma or complex PTSD, we have to be careful, because often when our trauma is very complicated, we end up one, we need help, but then the help we get, we end up sabotaging it again and again and again. And if that's us, we have to really put a boundary around our own sabotaging behavior. Say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sabotage the people who are trying to help me. I'm not going to sabotage the work that I'm doing. And so sitting with ourselves, of course, requires a meditator's mind. And it requires a mind like a mother who knows how to sit and nurse a baby when they both have the flu, or when they're both sick, when they're both suffering, when there's sleepless nights. And so it forces us to do this deep work. This deep work. because our other choice is just to continue to spin, chasing our own tail and saying, I'm not healing, nothing's happening, nothing's changing. And like with our egoic nature, we can make a real self-fulfilling prophecy if we're not careful. If we're not careful. Like this is this path, it's long and it's hard. It's a long, hard, difficult path, but of course, it's like, what else are we going to do here on planet Earth? What else are we going to do? Like, what else is worth our time if not our own self? It's like, my God, our own self. This gift, this promise of awakening to those who give everything. There's this promise to know true love. But of course, we have to be willing to stick with it. Okay, so there's something else I want to bring up. I know we're late in the evening here, but I'm just going to say this just because I want to get everyone's mind flowing. I don't know if that's the right thing to say in this context, but so on Friday we're going to have a community meeting. And the intention behind this meeting, just as we're growing as a Sangha, is because we're doing this new thing. It's an online Sangha. We're kind of all over the world. We need to find ways. It would be helpful for us to find ways as a community to connect more deeply. I want to say this. I am very happy with the inquiry group. I'm happy that a couple students, a couple individuals got their act together and kind of made this group happen. And I'll even say, I'm happy that I'm not a part of it. Just in the sense that, like, of course, there's a transmission that's there. My presence is there. But I didn't do it. It's like you all are doing this and you're meeting in this way. And I know it's small and just a handful of you. But to me, that's what I want to see more of in this song. I want to see true, authentic meeting and relating. I want to see more of this. And when people come together online, in a sense, like someone wrote me, they said, like, Craig, like it's like a playground and everyone's egos come together. Like if we look on the Facebook page, like it's just Facebook in general, there's just so much room for ego to be there, where we're not really meeting authentically, where we meet from our mask. And sometimes the mask is like the Joker, we're just going to post memes the whole time. And sometimes the mask is I'm going to be the teacher. And sometimes the mask is I'm the know-it-all. Sometimes the mask is I'm going to correct everyone. I'm going to criticize everyone. Sometimes the mask is I'm scared to talk. And so I'm just not even going to talk. I'm not going to engage at all. And, I can say that, some people from the Kundalini group and listen, I know our Sangha has a great split in it. And it's actually confusing for a lot of people. It was confusing for me at first, but I don't find any confusion anymore. But we tend to have a big group of Kundalini people who have like real energetic crisis going on a lot of energetic crisis. And that's a big deal in and of itself. Like it's a whole beast in and of itself. And then there's, people who come just because they're interested in healing and awakening. And of course, the Kundalini people are as well. But when you have Kundalini, it's such a overwhelming, intoxicating, bizarre, wild experience, that I created this. People ask me, said, well, can you do a teaching in the day? Can we do a group in the day? It's more like a support group. I was like, yeah. And then they said, can you make a Facebook page to go with it? And I said, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. And I wanted that Facebook group not to be like our fully human, fully divine Sangha page, but it's just kind of become that. And it's not really the right place for it. And so we need a new way to meet online. And we're going to talk about that on Friday. But the thing I see also is I see some people write a lot. Like, let's say Don, for example, he writes these beautiful posts. He puts a lot of thought into his posts, and he shares teachings that he likes, from this fellow right here, from this lineage. And it's beautiful, but there's not much deep discussion around that. And I just want us to imagine, like, if Facebook was just like a room, and Don walked in the room and he said, hey, everyone, let me tell you about this inquiry practice, that I got from Craig's book, and I want to share some of it. And Don writes this big thing up, gives the whole spiel, and then no one says anything. And the next person is like, here's a joke about the Buddha and Jesus walking into the bar. And then no one says anything, and then someone else comes in the room and says, hey, everyone, I am suffering so bad, and I am experiencing so much pain and terror, and I have this overwhelm. And the next person is like, hey, I want to, I want to share some teachings about Matt Kahn, or, something. And this is just me just taking a peek at like the Facebook feed. And so I see like the group is failing on social media. And of course, we're not the first people to fail at social media. Whoever the leader of the group is, like, he failed to create, the proper platform and means for people to meet. So we need to get that guy and make him pay. But so we need to find a better way to meet. Well, and so that this conversation has so much to it. And some people are like, Don posts too much, because Don's like one of the main contributors. And then other people don't post anything at all. And we might, as a Sangha, need less posting and maybe more just interacting with each other, interacting and sharing with each other. So there's the posting, then there's commenting on the post. But I think with our group, we need to have a new page where it's the fully human, fully divine Sangha page. And it's either going to be on Facebook or it's going to be on, a different network. The thing, of course, that's nice about Facebook, it's free. Most of you are already on it. And I want you to really think that if I did create a new network, would you all come over to it? Like, would you all come over to it? And while some people tell me, oh, yes, that's the way to go, I'm not certain that everyone would come over to it. And I don't want to create something and spend a bunch of money and a lot of time if it's not going to be active, if it's just going to be, like Facebook, but without memes. Even though memes are fun. And like, I've read some real funny memes on the Kundalini Facebook page, some that made me really laugh out loud, but it's kind of like, what the hell am I doing? And David Morris said, Craig, like, you're almost non-existent on the social media page, on the Facebook page. And that was great feedback for me. It's like, you are right, David. Like, I'm not there because I don't even know what the hell's going on there. Like, I don't need to read memes. Like, I'm a busy fella. I don't have the time or the energy for them, even though they will make me smile every now and then if I see a good one. But and I don't need any more connection because I get so much connection from all of you. I mean, my God, I feel so connected. But I want a place for you all to come. And now Taylor told me one of the most beautiful things. He said, Craig, what his vision was is a place where people could come on real quick, like step on to a platform real quick, and then to step off of it right away into real, meaningful live conversations on Zoom, maybe in real life, but probably mostly on Zoom. And like, that's the idea that I like the most, is just a place to come and say, hey, would anyone like to do some inquiry practice right now, or Thursday at 2:00. And to me, like, that would be the only way that I would use it. Let's say if I was a student within this path, is just to connect to it, to see where people are, to see if anyone would like to connect in real life on Zoom. And in a sense, like, that's what the inquiry group is like, hey, here's the time. And, send an email, we'll register you, and we'll send you the link. And then that's all you really need to know. But other people are different. Like, I have a mother, and everywhere I go, she talks to every human being in her eyesight. It's just like she likes to talk and connect with every single person. And me, I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't talk a bunch. I can't, type a lot of comments and engage in a written way. But some people are really excellent at that. Like Don is excellent at this. And if other people were going to engage in that, I would love to support that. But ultimately, what I want is deep, authentic meetings from the heart. And so for me, like, that was my vision with the Kundalini group page, was just a place for people to come and connect, offer each other support, talk about their crazy, wild Kundalini awakening experience and how bizarre it's been and how strange. I have Kriyas, and they're like, oh yeah, I have Kriyas too. And to have a sense of community and being seen with each other. That's what I was hoping the page would do. But again, I didn't offer any leadership in it. So I can say I failed at that. So we had a little experiment there. But I want us to look at a different way of meeting, because one time I popped on the Kundalini group and someone was writing about unicorns, and I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm just like, where are we going here, guys? What are we doing? And this is one of the great questions for us as human beings in this digital age. And my God, like, as we move into, this next AI age, is how much of our life is going to be lived online, probably, some degree, of course. And can I show up with a sense of integrity, a sense of depth? And if I am going to show up in a deep way, can I honor the other people that are there? And so we're not just all posting just to be seen and heard. Can we also share and connect with each other and support each other and maybe say something uplifting to each other? Like, for example, again, I'll just use Don as the example because he posts a lot. If Don's writing, sharing like excerpts from the Yoga of Liberation, my second book, can we engage with Don? Can we engage with a conversation? Can we meet and see what comes up out of that? Can we honor our fellow Sangha members? Now, when I was back in college, it was just like at the beginning of the internet, the beginning of things being online, like some classes. And I can remember our teachers, our professors were like, we need you to post something once a week, but then comment like 8 times a week. And I was always like, oh, this is such a pain in the butt. But it forced me to engage with other people's conversations. And I actually did learn and grow through some of those conversations. It's like, but I was forced to do it. I certainly don't want to say you all need to do that. But as a Sangha, if we're going to grow, if we're going to be healthy, if we're a healthy Sangha, if we're going to support each other, I want us to really look at a way, one, to show up from our heart, not from our mask. If we post way too much, maybe we post a little less to make room for others. If we don't post at all, maybe we come forward and post something and share something. Like today, like I wanted Kyle to share something because Kyle's this bright light and he kind of just been hanging out, being silent all the time. And that's how I was, to be honest. Like I hung out and was silent. My teacher made me speak all the time. I will say this just to leave a silly image in your all's consciousness. At one point, my teacher made me sing a song and do a dance for our community. I was furious, I was furious, but my sangha was all in person. We didn't have anything online when I was there, but it's good for us to share of ourselves, to share of our expression. And as we do so, we might find that things get a little muddy, like with our Kundalini Facebook page. Things got a little muddy, they got a little dirty, they got a little weird, they got convoluted. But there's also been some moments on that page where people really reached out and supported each other in beautiful ways. But we're going to have social media in our life. We're going to have relationships in our life. And relationship requires some level of courage. They get a little muddy. Like I took my wife out the other night to the pizza shop. And things got a little muddy, but it's like we need that. We need it. I'm even going to say we really got muddy in the sense that I took her on a bike ride, like on my e-bike. And I was on the river trail. And we kind of got near like where we wanted to turn around. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to turn us around real quick. So I just pulled off the river trail into some grass, like in front of this hotel along the river. And the sprinkler had just gone off on the grass. And so it was all sopping wet. And here in Colorado, the ground is dry, hard as a rock. So I'm not used to being in mud, but I pulled off the river trail. And all of a sudden she went flying off the bike. I stayed rubber side up, I put my foot down, planted it, did a 180 peel out, and then ran into a tree. But just like, we got to get muddy, like if we're going to connect with each other, we got to get muddy. We have to try some new things. She was busy yelling at me, I threw her off the bike and I'm like, you should have held on because I kept that bike upright, but like, we got to have some fun here, guys. And we have to be willing to put our foot in our mouth and, get in a little bit of trouble. And so like, we're not going to do it perfectly. There's no perfect platform, in every platform. Like people keep sending me these emails, Jay Craig, how about this platform? How about that platform? Every platform is going to go to the lowest common denominator. There's always going to be someone posting too much, people not posting enough. There's always going to be someone dominating. And let's be blunt here. Like when I was with my teacher, I dominated in a lot of ways because I wanted my teacher's time and attention. And so I'm not even saying that it's wrong. I want lots of engagement. I'd like to see engagement. I think you all want engagement. But when we engage, like sometimes we find out like, oh, I engaged with Craig a little bit and he's kind of a jerk. But also I kind of like him. You might engage with someone else and be like, oh, he's really arrogant, or she's like, I talked to her, she's just like negative Nancy the whole time. Like, but we have to get out and get in the mud with each other if we're going to develop these deeper relationships, if we're going to grow, if we're going to share our heart and express our heart in this world. And so I'm going to invite us to have some courage and to have lots of mindfulness. and to put ourselves in check. And then I'll tell you just, from a leadership perspective, I'm going to see if I can take some more accountability here and kind of lead. I'm not saying I'm going to be posting a lot on social media, but see if I can lead with a better framework and rules and moderation and that kind of stuff, and have some people in roles of moderator. But again, ultimately, I remember a time when I was on the path and it was just me and my teacher. And I had so much love from him, so much grace from him. But also I needed some spiritual friends. I just needed some spiritual friends. And the first time a friend showed up, I mean, it might have took like 2 years of me praying for a friend to come. My heart was so happy to have a spiritual friend on the path. It was just one friend. And then it was 2, and then 3, and then 10, and then now it's like I have so many friends that I just upset everyone because I can't respond to anyone's text anymore. I'm just overwhelmed with relationship. But we need it. We need it as humans. And I'm going to invite us just as a song, and let's all close our eyes as we end here, just to set this intention to be courageous, to open together, to support each other in this process of both healing and awakening, and to invite guidance, to call upon the divine, to call upon the mother, to support us in relationship with each other, to support the Sangha as we continue to grow and to open and to evolve, to support us in living from our highest as our highest, and support each other in this beautiful thing we call life, and this beautiful thing we call relationship. And so let's invite this love and this conscious relating. I'm going to invite you to see it just shining out all to the entire world, the entire planet. We want, here in the United States, Congress to learn how to relate. We want nations to learn how to relate. We want humans to learn how to relate better to nature. We're inviting a harmony, a healing, a nobility, a love, a compassion to flow out in a manifest way. And so we meet with our palms at our heart. May all beings be filled with the highest love, the highest truth, the greatest freedom. May all beings learn how to live in harmony with each other now and forevermore. And so much love to each of you. Please come to Kripalu if you can. I'd love to see you there. And please, if you can come to the community meeting, we'll talk. We'll get a little messy. And we'll see if we can move forward with a greater plan. Okay. Good night, everyone. So much love to each of you. Bye.